Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Moses is Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook, coming soon, Missing 2, double expense, double fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including theories, quiz of pains, and King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, plus Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and also Linktree at the Mike Wagner Show as well. We're here with an amazing lady, author, and hairstyles of 5+ decades as a motion picture hairstylist of styling the stars of Hilary Swank, Betty Davis, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, and the list goes on and on and on. She'll tell you more about it. She total over 120 productions, including Hello Dolly, RoboCop, Any Given Sunday, Ocean's 11, and more. Also earned the membership in the AMPA, which is the Academy of Motion Picture Artists Sciences in '01, and has a new book out, which is a memoir of her 50-year career in Hollywood, on set and offset. It's called Continuity, Life Beyond the Credits. Live, ladies and gentlemen, at Plus Studios, somewhere in Los Angeles, or she could be anywhere on a continuity basis. Multi-talented author, hairstyles of 5+ decades, motion picture hairstylist to many stars. And we talk about the book, Continuity, Life Beyond the Credits, multi-talented Bonnie Clevering. Bonnie, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Mike. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Bonnie. You're an author, hairstylist of 5+ decades as a motion picture hairstylist of styling the stars of Hilary Swank, Betty Davis, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, Al Pacino, and the list goes on. You total over 120 productions, including Hello Dolly, RoboCop, Any Given Sunday, and more. And you also earned your membership in the AMPA back in '01. You have a new book, which is a memoir of your 50-year career in Hollywood, on set, offset. You featured numerous actors, actresses, and worked with a number of people. You got some great stories, by the way. I did get to look, and looking forward to what you got with Continuity, Life Beyond the Credits. Before getting on to Bonnie, tell us how you first got started.
Okay. My husband and I were married in 1964 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I was a hairstylist in a beauty salon there. And we just wanted to go out to LA, had no idea what we were going to do. I knew I would have to get a California state cosmetology license. So anyway, we headed out Route 66.
Oh,
And
my favorite. Yes, my favorite.
yeah, I love it. I love it. In fact, we were at it just recently. But so when we were there, I applied to get my license, but we lived in an apartment complex in Burbank, which was near Warner Brothers and Disney Studios. And uh, some of the guys and gals that were on the different sections of the crew, and one day one of them said, "You ought to try to become a hairdresser, in the film industry." And I said, "Oh yeah, every hairdresser's dream is to do movie stars." So anyway, finally, this guy Lou pushed me, and he was working on Petticoat Junction and the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, my two
And
favorite shows. Love it. Yes,
oh,
that's a great start.
oh, yeah. So I went and I met Carmen Dorigo, who was the hairstylist on those TV shows. And we just really clicked. And after lunch, she called the woman that was in charge of Fox Studios and said, "I just met a girl I think could be a real asset to our business."
Nice.
So all of a sudden, I'm meeting different ones. And at the time, the union was training, there were probably half a dozen of us to become members. And we had to take tests and everything. And it was, long, drawn. But I mean, it was things that I would never know in a beauty salon, how to put on an Indian wig or a stunt double. So the hairpins had to be a certain way on the wig, because if they fell off the horse, that they wouldn't protrude into the scalp. And so there are just so many different avenues that I didn't even know at the time. Well, anyway, I became a member, and I was working at a couple different studios, and then all of a sudden I ended up at MGM.
Okay.
And back then in the 60s, we always did the actors' hair and makeup in the hair and makeup building. And then we would go to the set. And then I would watch the hair the rest of the day for scenes. But back then, it it was pretty controlled hairstyles. So it wasn't a lot of changes. And they were more sculptured and tighter. Where nowadays, you know, I mean, many movies I've done with Julia Roberts, the hair is up, the hair is down, the hair is blowing, the hair is so it's that's where the continuity really became important. So I would take 4 pictures. I would take back then we had Polaroids. Then we went to 35 millimeters. But I would take picture of the front, the back, and each side of their hair, and I would mark the scene number and the date that we shot it. Because, for instance, if Julia Roberts was in the rain or snow or the wind outside and knocking at the front door, it might be 2 months later we shoot her coming into the house. And so that hair has to match. And that's where the continuity, the name of my book, came up also.
Ah,
And
it'd be a big challenge for you. Yes. Uh-huh.
yeah, so that's how I got started. And I worked on Hello Dolly. And what probably one of the biggest things I did at that time was Speedway with Nancy Sinatra and Elvis Presley.
Oh, nice.
And so I've got great stories working with Elvis. He was such a great guy. And um and so it just kind of, that's where it all began. And then Elvis, after we finished, he went to the studios to and asked if I could be the hairdresser on all his films. And at the time, only the makeup men did the hair on men, and then the hairdresser did just the women. But we would touch up on the set to make sure the continuity was right, or if the makeup man was having to do someone that had a later call. But Elvis went to uh, the head of my department and asked if that I wanted, if I would want to be on all his movies. And at the time, I really wanted a family. No matter who I was doing, what movie stars, I just wanted to be a mom. And
Mhm.
so I refused it. And he said to me, he said, I wish I would have said no to more people in my life. And he gave me
Mhm.
a hug. But during that filming, uh, I had an infertility problem and had miscarriages. And
Oh my.
Nancy Sinatra gave Priscilla Presley a baby shower up at Nancy's house, and I was invited. And there were probably 12 women there or so. And halfway through the shower, Nancy asked Priscilla and I to stand up. And I thought, what in the heck is she doing? And so it's old Italian wives' tale to rub your hands on the pregnant woman's stomach, and that's supposed to bring you luck. And that was the month I got pregnant with my son, Jason.
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah,
was a good luck charm right there, just like Elvis being a good luck charm. They
yeah,
tied in really well.
yeah. And the thing is, I have in my book, I have a picture of the thank you note and the return address from Memphis. And Elvis and I, dear buddy Elvis and I, want to thank you for the beautiful shower gift, da da da. And so back then I think it was a 2 or 3 cent stamp. But so I had a lot of memories from the early days.
Oh my gosh, that had to be amazing. And of course, I was reading something about there about working with Elvis Pompadour. I think it nearly caught on fire at one point. Was that right? So
Oh,
I mean, it makes
well,
Michael Jackson seem rather like, small and everything, but Elvis, that'd be like, it was like burning fire or burning love, whatever it
oh,
was.
I didn't realize what could have come out of that. But the guys always were playing tricks on each other constantly. And I mean, Elvis would hardly, he'd be hardly looking all the time behind his back in case someone was pulling some prank. So one day I said, Elvis, let me light your cigar. And so I had one of those Zippo that you could change the flame to go higher.
Uh-huh.
And he kind of looked at it. He said, okay. So when I lit it, it went zoom, and he fell back and started laughing. But afterwards, I thought, oh my gosh, I could have burned his pompadour right off. And then about a month later, he's complaining about his hands being dry, and his cuticles, and he just, so I said, Elvis, I got the best stuff for you. It's kind of thick, but I it's going to work. So it was an old makeup artist trick. And what
Uh-huh.
it was the spirit gum, which is glue that glues the wig onto a bald head. And
Hmm.
so what I did, I put hand lotion on that smelled really good. And because I knew he'd look at the bottle, and so I had it real small, tight in my hand. But when he went to smell it, he smelled my hand lotion, not the glue. So I poured, and I said, "Oh, you need more." And I poured some more. So he's rubbing all over, and now his hands are sticking together. And so the makeup man got the remover and removed it. And the next day, when he came to work, he said, "I just picked that stuff out of my fingernails all night long." So we had a lot of fun. He was great, just great.
Oh, you must have been taking care of business right there and have peanut butter and banana sandwich with them afterwards, I'll bet you.
Oh,
Mike, you also had some really good work too. You did Julia Roberts, you did Brad Pitt, Al Pacino, Keanu Reeves, and maybe just pick a few stars you worked with, probably ones you had a lot of fun with.
well, I did 10 movies with Julia Roberts, and I did several with Hilary Swank. And I did Kristen Stewart in the Twilight series.
Oh yes, uh-huh.
And yeah, so, and that's, I didn't realize how huge, that was. But uh, all these girls all love to cook, and I love to cook.
Ooh.
And so the first day I worked with Julia on Aaron Brockovich,
Mm-hmm.
she mentioned about liking sausage, biscuits, and gravy. And
Okay.
I said, well, I make pretty good. And so what developed from it, every place and location we went on, if it was the Bellagio Hotel in Vegas, if it was in a little town in near Vegas, wherever we were, we'd always have in her refrigerator the ingredients. So sometime during shooting, or I'd make a batch and then give it to the caterer to warm up the next morning for her breakfast. So one time we were at the Bellagio, and all the actors were underneath where they had these little villas for all of
Mm-hmm.
the individual actors. So, Clooney and Matt Damon, they were all there. So one Sunday afternoon, Julia said, "What are we going to eat tonight?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know." And she said, "Why don't we do the sausage, biscuits, and gravy?" And I said, "For dinner?" She said, "Well, we'll eat kind of early because we have an early call the next day."
Ah, yes. Uh-huh.
So we were cooking and cooking, and all of a sudden the door knocks of her villa. Open up. It's Matt Damon. And he
Mm.
said, "What smells so good down the halls?" And so I told him, well, before we knew it, in the big dining room table, I had Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Don Cheadle, all eat my sausage, biscuits, and gravy. So it became kind of word of mouth through the industry. So no matter who I worked with, like with Brad Pitt, I made it in advance and then put it in his refrigerator while we were shooting Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Hmm.
And it just goes on and on. And Kristen Stewart, I made it for her, Hilary Swank. So in my book, Continuity, the recipe is in there.
Oh wow! You know what? I think we'll have sausage and biscuit and gravy next time we meet and everything like that.
Okay.
And we'll continue on with continuity, life beyond the crabs with buying clevering. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCrab Studios. Visit online at SoundCrabStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SoundCrab Studios is the answer. SoundCrab Studios offers fast, affordable, customized designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at soundcrabstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Expense, Double of Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by a Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 quiz of pains and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives new perspective of David through Psalms he wrote, and his time as a shepherd started, and complicate yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com and on Linktree at the Mike Wagner Show. 50 podcast platforms, 110 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok today. Tickets with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast, T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with amazing author hairstylist of 5+ decades as motion picture hairstylist to over hundreds of stars, Bonnie Clevering on the Mike Wagner Show with continuity and life beyond the credits. And before we do that, I forgot to ask you earlier, how'd you first come across being a hairdresser, and how'd you get started on that? Go to the very beginning, like fascination with hair, basically.
Oh, well, when I was in high school, for school plays and everything, I end up doing the hair and makeup, just, and the students. And I had no desire to go to college, and I could not afford, even if I could have. And I was raised in Aurora, Illinois, and I just took such an interest in anything that was creative, sewing or whatever. And I was so at the time, instead of today is like People magazine, back then it was called Photo Plate. It was a movie magazine.
Okay.
And I was just so struck, not even thinking in a million years at the time, but I was always so struck with movie stars and their look and their hair and their clothes and shoes. And so when I decided to become a hairdresser, I thought, well, that's a place I could really use my creativity.
Okay.
And then when I was working in Florida, I that's about the time when women were starting to wear wigs, and just for maybe even if they were at the beach all day or whatever, they were going out in the evening. So I became kind of the wig lady in the beauty salon. And then I started doing fashion shows, and I'd model, come out as a blonde, a brunette, a redhead. And then when I'd come out with one, the exact color of my hair, they couldn't believe then it was a wig. And so that's kind of how my creativity and
Right.
ideas came from.
And who are some of your favorite movie stars that you watched growing up? Who are some of your favorite actors, actresses, and favorite movie stars growing up?
Oh, John Wayne. In fact, I was thrilled because one time we were in Ensenada, Mexico, my husband and I, and John Wayne was just walking around looking. at the different stores, and I have a picture with him, and I
Nice.
couldn't believe it. In fact, I said to him, "My father adores you," and he said, "I'm glad someone does."
Well, you
But
better say that, lady.
yeah, so it was, that era of Betty Davis and Joan Crawford and him, and just the list goes on from the 50s and 60s.
Oh wow, you also worked with Betty Davis in a way too at the hair, and tell us about that.
Yes, she was a close friend of Robert Wagner's.
Mm,
And so, and at the time in the 60s, you didn't see big movie stars on TV shows. And so he was doing a series called It Takes a Thief.
I remember that
And
one.
he ended up she ended up being a guest star, and it was being filmed at MGM where I was there. And so it was just a day thing, but she was very professional, very nice, and just do her hair and know, well, a little higher, a little this, a little that. It was like I knew what I was supposed to do, and that was it. That was it. But of course, very professional, very nice, very soft spoken.
Very nice indeed too, and also worked with some of the others. What would you say was the most challenging thing you've done?
Well, I worked with Cher. Cher was guest spot on. I think I was doing The Girl from Uncle with Stephanie Powers, that whole series,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, Cher was guest on The Man from Uncle,
Uh huh.
and so she had to be disguised. And so at the time, she had that real long black slick hair, and it had to all be wrapped tight, and I had to put a blonde wig on her, a
Uh huh.
short blonde wig. So that was part of the craft that I had to learn, was wrapping that hair and having it flat, so it just, before that wig went on, it was just like it was just a her scalp with hair wrapped around. So that was quite challenging, but it worked.
Mm-hmm. It certainly did as well too. You proceed to work with some of the other stars, and I'm trying to find this list right here. It's like so long here, I tell you. So of course we did mention Kristen Stewart, and I think we also had let's see who's had Keanu Reeves, and I'm trying to think Al Pacino. That's another big one, and
Oh, yeah.
Al Pacino.
Al,
Yes.
it's a gift to go. Like, we always got everyone ready if it was night shooting or morning, whatever, in the makeup trailer, and then we'd go to the set. Then we knew we were most of the time on the set watching the hair, wardrobe, everyone involved. So it would all be matching. And then maybe we'd be working on the same scene after lunch. So that had to match the morning work. But Al, it was like going to the set was a pleasure, because he is such an artist and so good. And I remember he went through this kind of period where, like, I'd fix his hair, and then they'd say picture up, and I'd just make sure it all matched what we shot before. And I'd start walking back, and he'd say, Bonnie. And so they held the take, and I thought, what could have gone wrong with his hair? So I
Mm.
went back, and he said, does it look okay? And then he kind of touched my arm, and it was like, I don't know, he felt it was a good luck thing or something, but it was that. So he did that several times. But then I noticed he, once in a while, when he didn't do it to me, he did it to like the wardrobe person
Huh.
or the makeup artist. But yeah, he just is an absolute joy and an artist like no other. And Hilary Swank, I don't think I've ever known anyone to study like she does her script.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it. I remember doing one film with her, and she said, we're kind of looking at the script and talking about the hair for certain things. And she said, this scene, when we shoot it, I want my hair in a French twist.
Okay.
And she said, but I want the French twist to go in a certain direction because you can go either way with it. And so she knew down the road where she'd be sitting and where that camera would be, and already knew exactly how she wanted the hair, but in what direction. But of course, she's won 2 Oscars, and she's just a genius and one of the kindest person on the face of the earth.
That had to be very amazing as well. We mentioned about Fort Lauderdale for some reason. I don't know. I was thinking Jackie Gleason for some reason, always down Fort Lauderdale. It's like,
Yeah, it was. Well, of course, his TV show was always fun, to watch. And of course, I love Lucy. And
mhm,
I'd go through periods even 10 years ago where I would just want to watch 4 or 5 in a row. Yeah. And
uh-huh.
yeah, but I never got to work with her,
I
but it
think
would have
I
been a
think I
pleasure.
think there'll have been something here in Fort Lauderdale as well too, and everything else. But of course, you'll have your balances and everything like that. Of course, you have your challenges and maybe an advice as well too in your profession and how you manage to balance work, life, career, children, everything like that. Especially according to your book.
Well, that's it. And like I had said towards the beginning, how I wanted to have a family. And so once I end up having two, then my husband and I moved to Indianapolis. He had a
Okay.
job opportunity, and my sister and her husband and my godchildren were living in Indianapolis. So I worked in a beauty salon in a department store, and still just kept up, being a hairstylist, getting my Indiana state license. And then my husband's work took us to Dallas, Texas in the
Oh wow.
80s. And at the time, I didn't think I was ever going to get back in the film business. And the kids were like junior high, high school age, and found out that Texas at the time had a great tax incentive for filmmaking.
Okay.
So, so all of a sudden, long story short, I'm back in the saddle doing films and TV shows and whatever. So it had got me back in uh, to kind of learn, what some of the new stuff was, and of course, running into a few people that I'd worked with before. So it got that's when I returned to the business in the 80s, and that's where Oliver Stone was doing a lot of filming because of the tax incentive. And so I worked board on the 4th of July, JFK, with Oliver. And then later I worked Any Given Sunday with Oliver, and just brilliant, brilliant director. And so I got the urge again. And then when the kids went off to college, my husband and I decided to go back to California. So we went back in the 90s. And then after about 3 years, he passed away at 55 years old of cancer.
Hmm.
And so that left me alone, and knowing that we weren't in any position that, oh, we got lots of life insurance, da 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 da. So I really had to go back to work. And fortunately, I one of the films I got was I had an interview with Jennifer Lopez, and I did Out of Sight with Jennifer.
Uh-huh.
And I had done uh, Steven Soderbergh had done that, and so Steven ended up kind of keeping the same crew on all of his films, and so I knew I was going to end up doing Aaron Brockovich and
Hmm.
be the department head. And so I was working on a film, but it was going to be maybe 4, 5, 6 months before we were going to do Aaron Brockovich. But I get a phone call, and this woman says, I'd like to know who did Jennifer Lopez in Out of Sight. And I said, I did. And I said, and why are you asking? And she said, well, I'm just representing a client. And I said, do you mind if I ask you who your client is? And she said, Julia Roberts. So it ended up, Julia was looking for a new hairstylist or whatever the reasons were.
Hmm.
And so instead of running the whole department on Erin Brockovich, I became her hairdresser. And after that, we did so many movies together.
Oh, that'd be fascinating too. And if you have, and do you want to show us your book again, Continuity, so we get
Yes,
everybody an idea to what it is right there. That is a fascinating book. We want everybody to check it out, and we'll have Bonnie, if you want to maybe read a few experts, we'll get to that in 1 minute. You listen to the Mike
yes,
Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mostly Missing. That's Sweet Thomas by Serena Wagner, based on the life of Dave, including theories, quiz of pains, and King David Psalms. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Thomas Serena Wagner. We'll be back with the amazing multi-talent buying clevering of Continuity, Life Beyond the Credits after this timeout. We're back with author Bonnie Clevering of Continuity, Life Beyond the Credits on the Mike Wagner Show. And of course, a fascinating book over there if you want to show it off and maybe just a couple excerpts from the book. We love to see it.
yeah. Okay, this is Tim Allen in Santa Claus 2.
Oh my gosh,
And
I love it. Yes.
yeah, and so I did several films with Tim, and he's a personal friend. He and his wife, personal friends of mine. And that was probably one of the biggest challenges also for me
Hmm.
because he had to go into prosthetics and what we call rubber. So his face ended up being this rubber, and I
Ooh.
had to apply a wig on him, and I had never worked with prosthetics
Hmm.
and the type of glue and everything for the wig. And so that was a challenge, but it worked out fine. And then he had different stages in as just him being normal.
Hmm.
And so I had several different color wigs and the Santa Claus wig and everything. So that was a challenge, but I learned a lot and it worked out.
Beautiful. And plus, maybe another from the book as well, too. It's like you can take a look.
Okay. Well, here's Hillary Swank making a pie. She wanted me to teach her how to make all the pies. So
Oh,
that's
yes.
her making a pie.
Hmm.
And then another challenge was, oh, here's Kristen Stewart. Is
Oh, Jekyll and Hyde right there. Yeah, she did a
yeah.
great job.
Well, and the thing is, sh Kristen did the Joan Jett story,
Oh, okay.
and she had told the producers of the Twilight series after she did New Moon that from New Moon to Twilight, she was going to I think it was Twilight to Eclipse. She was going to have her hair cut and dyed black because she
Okay.
wanted to play that whole feel of Joan Jett. So they made her a wig and they start shooting Eclipse. And I get a call from a producer who I had worked with before, and they're up in Vancouver, and said, we're having problems with her wig. And I know how, you're an expert at the wigs. So we'd like you to come up and see what you can do to correct whatever.
Hmm.
So I said, well, first of all, you have to let the hair and makeup department know I'm coming because I don't want them to think, oh, here, now she's going to save the day or whatever. Well,
Right.
they were
Uh-huh.
thrilled to death because they knew me and I'd worked with them when I worked with Pacino up there in
Hmm.
Canada. So, anyway, I sat in the producer's trailer for a whole day looking at so much footage and what I felt they could use or I could correct. And so that's what they brought me in, and that's how I started working with Kristen. And then I did the two Breaking Dawns and Snow White and the Huntsman in England. And she's a fabulous cook. I got cooking stories about her too.
Oh, I love to hear those stories. You got me hungry on biscuits and gravy. I want to hear about Kristen Stewart's cooking. Maybe I can have her over. She can cook me something. So
Oh, there you go. So at Christmas time, we're working on Breaking Dawn, and she says, "I think you and I and the makeup girl, we should make Christmas cookies for the whole crew,
Oh,
homemade
nice.
Christmas cookies." And I said, "Okay, how are we going to do this? Because we're talking hundreds of cookies, because can't get them just one." So we picked out what recipes that was a variety. There were two for me, two for the makeup girl, and two from Kristen. So she said, "We'll bake them a couple weeks before in my kitchen, the house they were renting her, because we'd have lots more room than the townhouses they, rented for us." So the first weekend went by, she had to go out of town.
Mm,
So she said, "Well, next weekend." Well, then it came down to like in the middle of the week, she said we could do it on Sunday before we give them on Monday. I
mm.
said, "Kristen, we're talking hundreds of cookies and you've got a double oven only." So the
Ooh.
makeup girl and I end up doing our own in our own townhouses.
Uh-huh.
And then Kristen, but she said, "Well, okay, that'll work and I'll do mine, but I don't want to just put them on a tray. Merry Christmas, Bonnie, Stacy, Kristen, Jean." Well, she said, "I want to put them in individual boxes." I said, "That's like
Oh.
100 boxes." And she said, "Well, I want to sign them, have them sign." So I'm out a couple of days before, all over Baton Rouge, looking for 100 little boxes. And I find them at Pier 1. And so then you have to put them all together.
Uh-huh.
So we got, I don't know who it was, Rob or someone probably putting all those boxes together, and she hand wrote on them. And so I mean we got it done, but it was just such a pleasure doing it, and it was fun too, kind of crazy but fun. And the whole crew appreciated, the teamsters, everyone.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm hungry for some cookies and biscuits and gravy. And what's your other favorite recipe you like to share with us here? Just a quick one.
Oh, I think the pies, and I love rhubarb pie, not strawberry rhubarb, but I like the tartness.
Uh-huh.
And I think pies, and
Okay.
that doing it with Hillary Swank, we did apple, we did peach, we did all kinds.
Oh,
That's,
yum.
yeah, she wanted to learn how to make in different kinds of crusts. Well, now I just use those Pillsbury refrigerator crusts.
Oh, yeah. That's probably the best way to go. I'm thinking about doing that myself too. In the meantime, where can we find continuity, life beyond the credits? No, it works at Bonnie.
You can go Amazon. This next year, it's going to be at all the Costco's,
Uh-huh.
and it's in Barnes and Nobles. I've been doing some of the Barnes and Noble tour, and you can just go to Continuity by Bonnie Clevering on Amazon, or it's all over the internet.
Okay. And how about your website? How people contact you?
Yeah, Continuity by Bonnie Clevering.
Okay. All right. We'll certainly check that out as well, too. Here with the multi-talented Bonnie Clevering of Continuity and Life Beyond the Credits here on the Mike Wagner Show. Bonnie, just a few more things. What else can we expect me to wrap up 2025 and go into 2026 and beyond?
Well, we've got some things, other books that are going to be coming out, that my son and I have a team of people writing, and then we're possibly going to go into production
Oh,
and
nice.
do a couple films. So we're expanding, and that's one of the reasons we were in Hollywood, meeting with some of my past producers, so forth.
Okay. All right. We're certainly looking forward to it as well and can't wait to have back on. And who you consider biggest influence in the career?
Probably the woman that started me. I think the hairstylist Carmen Dorigo. It was, the beginning, and she believed in me.
Okay. Okay. That's certainly fascinating. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Just follow whatever you want to do. Just follow it and be realistic about it. But but don't let anyone stop you. You know, just go with what you really want and be professional and giving and pray that it works out too.
And certainly does as well. And you've got a really good set for as well. Here at the multi-talent buying clevering of continuity, life beyond the credits here on the Mike Wagner Show. Bonnie, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot. Looking forward to
Oh,
him soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
yeah, just go to Continuity by Bonnie Clevering.
All right. Well, have people check it out. Once again, Bonnie, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward
Oh,
to him
thanks,
soon.
Mike.
And thank you. And don't forget to keep in touch. Keep us up to date. Love to have you back. Don't forget to share your recipes. And looking forward to having soon. And Bonnie, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Oh, thanks, Mike. And I'll be glad to come back again.